Sonic Boom, Season 2, Episode 5, The Biggest Fan. This episode is about Mark, Sonic's biggest fan, meeting him, becoming his personal assistant, then kidnapping Sonic, then kidnapping Sonic's friends, then they escape, escape their body casts, which he put them in, then they defeat Mark, and then the episode just sort of ends open-endedly. So, this episode was good in my opinion. I liked it quite a bit. I thought it was a actually pretty funny episode at times. Not all the jokes really hit home. But the ones that do are actually really funny. So, yeah. And really, the humor is really the only thing that's really saving this episode, in my opinion. Because Mark is not a very interesting character. He's just... He is essentially a crazy Sonic fan, basically. Like, that is his whole personality, is that he just really likes Sonic. And he also has an annoying voice, so I guess that's also kind of why I don't like him that much. But I'll talk about him more later on. So there's no Eggman in this episode, like, whatsoever. He's only, like, mentioned in, like, one line. And that's it. And we need more episodes like this. Because I cannot stand Dr. Eggman. Specifically, this interpretation of Dr. Eggman. Like, with Mike Pollock as his voice heard about at this point. Because he's been doing it for, like, so long, and, like, with this interpretation of Eggman, like, this, like, incompetent idiot. And, you know, like I've said before, I really cannot stand that anymore. And it's like seeing an episode, like, without him, and without having to hear his voice, without having to see Eggman be an incompetent idiot, is just so refreshing. So that's probably another reason why I think this episode is actually kind of good. There is something. There's two little things that kind of bother me about this episode. Like, aside from Mark, it's sort of just like how the characters get kidnapped. Like, Mark and Sonic are driving in Mark's car, and there's no real sense of, like, speed there. Like, he's going kind of slow from, like, the way it looks. And when he purposely crashes the car, knocking Sonic out, I don't really see, like, how that could have knocked out Sonic. Because, like, it was, like, going, like, so slow that probably wouldn't have even phased him. So, and he was also, like, wearing a helmet too, so... And he was also out cold. He had to be out cold for an extended period of time, because when Sonic wakes up, he's in Mark's cabin, and he's in a full body cast. And Mark even had time to make pies as well. So he had he had time to, like, make the pies, because they were done, like, literally a minute after Sonic woke up. So he had to have been out for, like, at least like a few hours. Like I'm not really sure how long it takes to put someone in a full body cast, so that may take a few hours. It may not. I'm not really sure. And then the other characters, Tails. Actually, I don't think Styx is in this episode either. Huh. I don't remember seeing Styx like whatsoever. Now that I think about it, because I know she wasn't with them. Yeah, this episode doesn't have Styx or Eggman. Huh. Wow. Oh, well. Okay. But, getting back on track, Amy, Knuckles, and Tails go to Mark's house. And they clearly hear Sonic's, like, muffled screams. And instead of, like, breaking down the door, which Knuckles could obviously do, since in episode 2 of season 2, he did break a giant asteroid. So, there's no way in hell he couldn't break down that door. But instead, they decided to like go around to like try and find another way in. And because of that, Amy hits a tripwire, and this log comes down and hits them. But the way the log comes down is that they had like kind of like plenty of time to like react to it, and the log like isn't really moving down at them fast. Like if it was like moving like really fast, or if it like came down from like behind them and was coming down fast like from behind them, I would have like a much better time sort of like taking that in. But the way it is, like Knuckles had plenty of time to punch it, and Amy and Tails had like more than enough time to just like duck or like jump over it. So that's another little issue I had. And when they wake up, they're all in full body casts as well, and Mark has made like 6 or 7 pies, so they had to have been out for a while as well. So, okay, so some of the humor in this episode kind of makes fun of Sonic fans. Not like regular Sonic fans, but more so that small minority of fans that take everything to like the extreme. And you're not going to enjoy this episode if you don't think that's funny. Personally, I think it's absolutely hilarious. And the jokes about fan fiction and stuff like that, I thought were really funny. Now, if you don't like that sort of humor, then you're probably not going to enjoy this episode. But yeah, I enjoyed this episode, and I want to see Mark return. And there's a couple ways they could do it. They could have it so that he now sort of like resents Sonic for, I guess, leaving him behind. And so he tries to like take revenge on him, or he's like even more like obsessed with them now, and he wants to like take out Sonic's friends instead, so that he can like have Sonic like all to himself. Or he could just like never return, since he has an annoying voice. But if he did return, I kind of hope they do something really interesting with him. So one last thing I want to talk about is the ending. After they defeat Mark, Sonic like wraps him up in this sports tape, and then it just cuts to them like walking in town, and that's the last we ever. And that's the last time we see him in this episode. Like, there's no like clear like resolution like to this plot. It just sort of ends. Like, we could have been like a throwaway line where they just say that they put him in jail, or they just left him there, or something. You know, it's I don't think that's like too much to ask for. So that's another little thing that kind of bothered me. But all in all, I like this episode, and I hope the next episode is gonna get like even better. So till then, I don't know.